The woman who binds angels in the Book of Enoch. In the Book of Enoch, a controversial text left out of most Bibles, there's a story of a power so immense it could imprison angels forever. For centuries, readers have wondered, who was this ultimate jailer? A persistent whisper has spread through mystical circles about a mysterious figure, a woman with the power to bind celestial beings for all time. But is she actually mentioned in the text? Who is this divine feminine force that people talk about? And why is her story so hard to pin down? In this video, we're going to get into the weeds of the Book of Enoch to find out the truth about who really imprisoned the fallen angels. And the answer, as you'll see, is far more complex and interesting than you might expect. Section 1. The Crime of the Watchers. First, to understand the punishment, you have to understand the crime. The Book of Enoch tells a story from before the Great Flood, a time when a group of angels known as the Watchers were sent to Earth simply to observe humanity. Their one rule was, don't interfere. But as they looked down, they became consumed by lust for human women. Led by an angel named Samyaza, 200 of them made a pact, descended on Mount Hermon, and took human wives, directly violating God's command. This unholy union produced a terrifying offspring, the Nephilim. These were giants with an endless hunger who tore through the world. They ate all of men's crops and animals, and when that wasn't enough, they started eating people. But the Watchers' sin didn't stop there. They also taught humanity forbidden knowledge. An angel named Azazel taught men how to forge swords and shields, the arts of war. Others revealed secrets of sorcery and astrology, corrupting the world and filling it with violence. Heaven's rebellion was systematically unmaking God's creation. Section 2. The Divine Judgment. The cries from earth reached the gates of heaven, where the archangels Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel saw the absolute chaos unfolding. They brought the case before God, and the judgment was swift and total. The Nephilim were turned against each other, destined to be wiped out in a giant, bloody civil war. But for the Watchers who started it all, their fate was much worse. These immortal beings were to be bound in darkness and imprisoned until the final day of judgment. First, they would be forced to watch their giant children kill each other, and then they'd be cast into their eternal prison. This sentence required a jailer, a force strong enough to bind an angel for thousands of years. The question that has echoed ever since is, who could possibly do that? Section 3. The Official Jailers, the Archangels. If you stick strictly to what the Book of Enoch says, the answer is pretty straightforward. There's no mysterious woman. God's judgment was carried out by his most trusted enforcers, the archangels. The text is very clear about who did what. God commands the archangel Raphael to bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness. Then, God tells Gabriel to proceed against the biters and the reprobates and make the Nephilim destroy each other in battle. And finally, the archangel Michael gets the main job, dealing with the ringleader, Samyaza. God instructs Michael to bind him and his followers in the valleys of the earth for 70 generations. So case closed, right? The holy archangels, acting on God's direct orders, are the ones who bind the fallen angels. The text itself never mentions a woman carrying out this sentence. It credits these powerful masculine angels as the enforcers of divine justice. Section 4. The question that won't go away. And yet, the idea of a woman who binds angels just won't disappear. It's a powerful image that has grabbed the imagination of mystics for generations. If the text is so clear, why does this other interpretation even exist? Where does this idea of a divine feminine jailer come from? To answer that, we have to step outside the literal words of the Book of Enoch. It's critical to understand that this idea is a symbolic interpretation that developed much later. It's not actually in the Book of Enoch itself. These interpretations suggest the archangels might have been acting as agents for a deeper, divine principle, one that many ancient traditions saw as feminine. To find this hidden force, we have to look at concepts of divine wisdom and God's presence, known by names like Sophia and the Shekinah. Section 5. Unveiling the Divine Feminine, Sophia and Shekinah. In many ancient Jewish mystical and early Christian traditions, the divine wasn't seen as purely masculine. There was a strong concept of the divine feminine, an aspect of God tied to wisdom, creation, and justice. One of the most famous names for this is Sophia, the Greek word for wisdom. In texts like the Book of Proverbs, wisdom is personified as a woman who was with God during creation, helping to bring order out of chaos. Another key idea is the Shekinah, a Hebrew term for God's dwelling or settling presence on earth. In later Jewish mysticism, the Shekinah is often imagined as a feminine entity, sometimes called the Queen of Heaven, who represents God's compassionate presence in our world. Similarly, some early traditions viewed the Holy Spirit, or Ruah, with a feminine gender, seeing it as a nurturing, life-giving mother. These traditions paint a picture of a divine feminine force that is essential to the universe. Whether you call her Sophia or Shekinah, she represents the wisdom that structures the cosmos and the power that restores balance when things go wrong. Section 6. A symbolic interpretation. Now let's bring this back to the Book of Enoch. The sin of the Watchers was more than just lust. It was an act of cosmic rebellion that threw a divinely ordered world into chaos. Their punishment wasn't just about revenge, it was about restoration. Binding the angels was an act of damage control, meant to contain the chaos and put things back in order. From this symbolic viewpoint, the archangel's actions can be seen as the physical expression of a greater principle. While Michael and Raphael are the ones with the chains, the power that makes the binding possible, the principle of restoring order, is the very essence of divine wisdom, or Sophia. The act of imprisoning the agents of corruption is a direct reflection of Sophia's role as the architect of divine order. So this woman who binds angels isn't a literal person in the story, but a powerful archetype. She is the cosmic justice that demanded the mess be cleaned up. The archangels are her hands, but she is the will. She is the silent law that the Watchers broke, and the force that makes sure their rebellion is contained. When you dig into these ancient texts, you find layers of meaning just waiting to be explored. If you enjoy these deep dives into sacred mysteries and forgotten stories, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation. So, is there a woman who binds angels in the Book of Enoch? The answer is both no and yes. Literally, no. The text plainly states that the archangels Michael and Raphael did the binding. They are the named jailers of these cosmic traitors. But on a deeper, symbolic level, the story connects to a truth found in many traditions: the existence of a divine feminine force, a principle of wisdom and order that holds creation together. The binding of the Watchers is the ultimate act of restoring balance, and this restoration is the core function of figures like Sophia and the Shekinah. She may not have a name in the Book of Enoch, and she may not appear in the story, but her power, the power of divine order pushing back against chaos, is the silent force driving the entire narrative of judgment. What do you think? Is this a purely masculine, angelic act? Or do you see the hand of a hidden divine mother, a cosmic force of wisdom and justice working behind the scenes? Let us know your take in the comments below.